the war between Russia and Ukraine. And I think everybody's hoping that that would be the case, because that would be pretty amazing for sure. So how are you today?
Good. Can't complain. I'm glad we get in here way before so we can have long conversations before the show, prep and everything. So.
He said sarcastically.
Yeah.
What he's really saying is we both tend to rush in at the last second.
Literally. But it's because we're working beforehand.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. Especially you. Trying to get everything underway.
Yeah, driving from Grant Parish is a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that long drive. I'll tell you what, though. Driving in every morning and passing Bulow Lake, it's just like this little lake of glass every morning. Very peaceful.
Not bad. It's a beautiful spot.
And you're already starting to see kind of how the time change will be working very soon, as even just like the angle of the sun is already different. Usually when I turn onto the street where I come off of MacArthur to come to the station, it usually is blinding.
The light is blinding.
But today it wasn't. It's kind of moved over a little bit. So before you know it, we'll be arriving here at the station in the dark.
Well, what hasn't changed is the temperature, because it was awful this morning.
Yeah, it's muggy out there.
I got up earlier to take the dog out earlier than I usually do, and it was still kind of dark. It was hot. I was sweating.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good out there right now. We need some north winds to start blowing and give us a little relief, hopefully.
I'll take that over any winter weather.
Yeah.
Still. No doubt about it.
Yeah. You say all the time how much you enjoy the summer weather.
Summertime. But yeah, going back to what you started with, I wonder if Zelensky's going to get a red carpet too. I wonder if that's going to be happening.
Or will they do a flyover?
A flyover with a red carpet.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Does it sound like some progress was made? Hopefully that's the case, because if there's one thing we've talked about that is pretty clear with this president, is he doesn't like war, and he's really working to try to end as many of them as he can around the world, which is great, and hopefully they can end this one, which, man, it has been quite an ordeal, to say the least, and we'll see. Hopefully things go well at the White House today. That's what we hope for, hoping for the best.
Obviously, we don't want war, but I mean, Putin is kind of a murderous dictator, so to roll out the red carpet was just kind of weird optics for me to see that. It's just kind of an odd situation, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, do the means justify what's happening? Because that's something America really hasn't done, I think, in the past, is almost cater to the aggressor in a situation like that. The one who started the war and the one who has killed a lot of people with his decisions. So that's just something kind of different to me.
I hear you.
I'd be interested to see what other people think about it.
Yeah. 318-442-8255. I don't know that anybody's going to be defending Putin, but I do think that on the other side, Zelensky, I don't know. I mean, Zelensky's no saint, let me put it that way. So when you look at some of the actions he's taken within his own country during this time, and somebody posted on Twitter over the weekend, one of the higher up officials in Ukraine driving around in his brand new Lamborghini. So,
but that's neither here nor there on what Putin has done.
No, I'm not saying that, but I am saying that.
Should we have brought Mussolini in on a red carpet, and tried to buddy up with him? I think, and that just comes to the foreign policy decisions, right? Do we say, okay, you may have done wrong, but we got to end this thing. Let's go ahead and end it. And then we're almost enabling you for the future. Or do we take a stand and say, we don't agree with these decisions that you've made, these aggressive decisions, and we're not going to condone it as Americans? No, I feel like we've taken the second approach for most of our existence. I'm just
absolutely.
It's just different.
Yeah, I see what your point is, but
I mean, even the secretary.
If we reach a peace agreement, I think that's the larger issue.
Yeah, but if it's a peace agreement, it's still not dealing with the issue over Russia being an aggressor. Even Marco Rubio is on record about 4 years ago saying that Putin could never be trusted.
Yeah.
We can't make a deal with a guy like this. But I guess it changes when you become Secretary of State under this president who has a different view. But you can't trust it. You can't condone these actions.
Mm-hmm.
It seems kind of odd to me. And I'm not saying Ukraine is perfect. But you could go back and say, well, they've been encroaching upon Russian, sovereignty and this and that, and with NATO and everything. Okay, but it's just kind of weird optics. Just curious what people think.
Yeah.
I think we have one in here now.
Okay, well, we'll see. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning. I think Stephen's right to a point, but then what do you do after that? What do you do once you disrespect the guy when you're trying to negotiate with him? That's the whole thing that Trump does. He tries to give people respect while he's negotiating with them, even if they are dictators. And the Democrat Party and people like that, they don't ever understand that. They don't understand his negotiating tactics. But what do you do if you tell them, yeah, we don't like it? Then you go back to arming Ukraine. You go back to spying. And let me tell you, I don't think Trump's going to do that. If he has to do it, we're going to push arms through Europe.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because I think Trump wants to keep looking good to Putin as much as he can, because he's also trying to drive a wedge between Russia and China.
That's an interesting point as well. Yeah, no, thank you so much for that. And I think that is another point that Trump has definitely gotten Europe to step up much more in the support effort with things. But hopefully it'll all come to an end. I think that's the larger issue here. Hopefully, we'll see. So I'm sure we'll have coverage throughout the day here on our various shows, as well as the top of the hour news from CBS, as we have a very historic day. A number of European leaders are coming in for this as well. So that should be interesting to see what goes down today. Hey, let's mention what we have coming up for you on Talkback this morning. A little bit later on, it'll be State Representative Jason DeWitt for District 25. He'll be in here. We'll kind of look back at what happened in this year's legislative session and also update you on some of the things that are impacting the state of Louisiana. You might have heard on Louisiana Radio Network this morning, the insurance commissioner, Tim Temple, says that several of the auto insurance companies operating in the state of Louisiana are now reducing their rates at least a little bit. So that looks like it could be some good news. Let's see here. I saw that Daryl Destel, the state representative from Marksville, also showed how much of a change is happening right now with several of the insurance companies. Just kind of taking a glance here, and some of these I really haven't heard much of, but let's see, State Farm, 3.9%, Imperial Fire and Casualty, which is all states, their rates are down about 8%, Geico, 7.3%, Go Auto, 9.92%, GM National, 6.9%. I don't know how many people are seeing that in their bills right now, but hopefully you'll start to see that. So maybe what we had happen in the legislature is starting to make an impact. We can hope.
Yeah. We'd love to hear that perspective for sure. We'd love to see things work, hopefully.
And as I said, we can give more perspective on that from Jason coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. I remember he had his bill was, what was the term of it? Like no pay, no play. Basically what it did was, if you aren't paying auto insurance and you get in an accident, you cannot file for claims under $100,000. I think that's what it was. Okay. But we'll get him to further explain that, which my understanding is the majority of auto insurance claims fall under that 100,000 level. But as I said, we'll look forward to getting a little more perspective from him on how he feels like things are going. All right, big meeting tonight over on Lake Kincaid, correct? For carbon capture?
Yeah.
Yep. What time does that start at?
That is a 6, I think, off the top of my head. I have to check and see.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so, excuse me.
I know they're going to have Brad LeBlanc on there too. We had him on the show Friday. It's going to be another meeting where it's going to be citizens, I think, talking about some of their concerns.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be really the first one, and I think on this side of the river, huh?
I believe you're right.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Speaking of carbon capture, I know you posted this on your Facebook page, but Governor Landry was speaking this past week. Let me see if I can get this queued up. Hang on a second here. And he was speaking to the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association. Is that right?
I think it's like the Legislator event they had. I'm
Okay.
not completely sure on who was all there, but
Okay.
the LMOGA was there.
Okay. Well, here's what he had to say on the topic of carbon capture.
Can we continue the momentum? And I would tell you that the answer to that is yes, but only if we're willing to embrace new opportunities. And one of those opportunities is carbon capture. And many legitimate questions about it have been raised, but many statements have been made that are simply not true. But the reality is do we embrace it or don't we? The question is, are we going to sell it or is Texas going to? Do we create a safe and trustworthy way to embrace this new opportunity like those of us who stood before us and embraced oil and gas in the refining business 50, 60, 70 years ago? Do we keep this historic momentum going? Or do we really give it up? That's the question. And so the question is, can we continue the momentum? And I would tell you that the answer to that is yes, but only if we're willing to embrace new opportunities. And one of those opportunities is carbon capture.
All right. So I think he makes it pretty clear that he looks like he's in support of that happening here in the state.
Yeah, that's no surprise, honestly. We've heard some talks there could be some sort of moratorium, maybe, just for, through the grapevine. I don't know, but yeah, it's gonna be a big fight, I'm sure, in the next legislative session. I'm sure we'll talk about that with Representative DeWitt as well.
I know that his goal, or what he's trying to do, is kind of make Louisiana a new energy hub, or an energy hub in general for the country. And on some levels, I definitely appreciate that. But when it comes to pushing that type of thing, I think he's going to find a lot of even his own base are very resistant to it. So it will be interesting to see how that develops. And of course, we talk about Speaker of the House Pro Tem Mike Johnson has said he'd be in favor of a special session to talk about this issue.
Specifically tied to eminent domain.
Right.
That issue of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a growing political issue. I know a lot of the bigger cities, like your Shreveports, we weren't really talking about it when I was there.
No.
They're not. It's not something they're probably overly concerned about. But you're seeing it pop up in these rural areas, especially out here, and these seemingly, I guess you could say grassroots campaigns, and we'll see what happens with it. But it seems to be growing at least.
Yeah. All right. Well, we need to take a quick break. Again, 442-8255 is our phone number here on Monday Talkback. We'll be right back.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A software industry deal could be shaping up. Sources tell Bloomberg that the buyout firm Thoma Bravo is in talks to acquire Dayforce and take the company private. Dayforce is an HR software provider based in Minneapolis. Its customers include companies in the healthcare, retail, and hospitality and financial services sectors, among others. Could the Oscar telecast turn into an Oscar video stream instead? Google's YouTube has looked into buying the rights to the Academy Awards, according according to our Lucas Shaw, who writes the Screen Time newsletter. As he points out, YouTube has been showing more and more interest in live events. Disney's ABC has aired the Oscars for almost 50 years now. Retail earnings are in focus this week. We hear from the biggest companies. Home Depot, Walmart, Target, and Lowe's are all scheduled to open their books. Investors will be looking for signs of how consumers were faring early on under President Donald Trump's tariffs. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Parents, we know how important a strong start to the school year is, and Refuge Parish Library is here to help. At RPL, your child can access free homework help, online databases, research tools, computers, quiet study spaces, and books for every subject and reading level. Whether they're catching up or getting ahead, the library is your partner in their success. And success is just a library card away. Visit your local library branch or rpl.org to get started today.
Well, good morning. Sunshine in our forecast today, but it is going to be warm. 97 for the afternoon high. That heat index well above 100. Be careful if you have to be out in that heat. But a 20% chance of some showers or thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoon. Tonight, maybe a stray shower early in the evening. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. We'll get down to 73. And it looks like more of the same on Tuesday. From the Zenlaw Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BON Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BON Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. Talk back.
All right, we are back here on your Monday. Again, our phone number is 318-442-8255 here on this Monday Talkback. Coming up at 8:05, State Representative Jason DeWitt will be joining us in the studio, so we'll look forward to that conversation. Saints got a tie yesterday. They were trailing much of the game, and then Spencer Rattler led them on a fourth-quarter drive. Actually led them on two fourth-quarter drives. One ended up in an interception, but the Saints got the ball back. He drove them down. They scored with a few seconds left, and then he was able to get the two-point conversion, and they don't play overtime in preseason football, so the Saints are 0-1-1 right now in the preseason.
They should have just had like a who can kick the longest field goal.
There you go.
Let's do something.
Yeah.
Something fun.
Yeah. Kind of like they did with the All-Star game where they just picked the guys to try to hit home runs.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
So something like that. But yeah, so anyway.
Or who could sack the quarterback the hardest.
Yeah, just give them like an unfettered access to run and,
That's right.
and do that. How are the Cowboys doing right now?
They're 0-2 in preseason. They lost to the Ravens Saturday or Sunday. I don't know.
Of course, preseason is just...
It's pointless.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really judge anything off of preseason. Speaking of the Ravens, I don't know if you saw this story. It was going around yesterday on social media. Apparently, Lamar Jackson, of all things, liked a tweet from Charlie Kirk, the conservative influencer, where it was basically something like Jesus is Lord. And he liked it. And people are losing their minds over this.
Who's losing their mind?
I guess he's just...
Twitter people?
Yeah, I guess.
Shock.
I know. So, yeah.
It's the most outraged platform. Like, on both sides.
Yeah.
There's people are consistently outraged.
It's all about Jesus. That was the tweet that he liked.
Well. Whoa.
I know. How terrible that is.
Well, I think it's because it's Charlie Kirk, and a lot of people on the left don't like Charlie Kirk.
Maybe.
That's what it is.
Maybe.
I don't think it's about Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking it up to see where some of the trending NFL star Lamar Jackson is under heavy criticism for reposting a post from right-wing political personality Charlie Kirk. Jackson has taken serious heat from the hashtag Ravens and other fans across the league.
I'm sure the Baltimore fan base isn't a fan of Charlie Kirk, if they even know who the heck Charlie Kirk is.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you know, the outrage of it being trending there helps you click on X as well and get more clicks. It's just dumb. No one cares.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Exactly. people will really not care at all if he leads the Ravens to the Super Bowl.
No, they won't care. But that's probably not going to happen.
You don't think so?
No. I think the Chiefs are going to go back again. It's just the way it's going to be.
It's just hard to win when you have the referees on your side.
Yeah.
Speaking of referees and in sports, I don't know if you saw the game over the weekend where Sophie Cunningham on the Indiana Fever.
Did not see that.
Her leg was rolled up on by one of the dirtier players in the WNBA, and she hurt her knee and could be out for a while. And her sister was on Twitter ripping the league for not having good referees.
What is that?
And the fans go crazy. Yay!
The fan?
Yeah, the fan goes crazy.
Lord.
All right, let's go to the phones this morning and see what else is on people's minds. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I'm going to stick with the football stuff. I think Stephen was right in his estimation. I don't think they even know who Charlie Kirk is because they're patriotic Americans and they know who Charlie Kirk is. They'll like what he says.
Yeah.
And everything he says is traditional American principles put into life works. And I don't think that happened. I think what you read to us was a headline that an influencer, a left-wing influencer, they saw a couple of people make some comments and then they say, oh, he's getting a lot of heat. And I don't think he's getting a lot of heat. I think the majority of the people in the Baltimore area know what happened in Baltimore, Maryland. They see how horrible it goes in that city with leftist principles. And I think they understand that that's not where they want to go. They don't want their children growing up in that world. But we're at the mercy of people who make those headlines, and they do want everybody to hate Charlie Kirk because they do not like America. They think they want to change everything about traditional America. So Dr. Soul had a little, in one of his books, and I can't remember which one it was, but he did a little segment on how to listen to headlines, how to read headlines. And it was excellent. He talked about statistics and he talked about word choices and how we can see how people they can't help but let out the truth about themselves in their word choices. And it was excellent. And I mean, he had it nailed. He's been fighting this stuff since the 50s. But anyways, that was my 2 cents. I don't think what that headline said really happened. I think the people of Baltimore want a winning team, and people who are interested in football are usually people who believe in meritocracy. That means the best win. No DEI, left-wing ideology. All right, thanks. Y'all have a great day.
All right, thank you for the call. Let's take another one. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to make a suggestion for a format.
Okay.
Since our ranking on violent crime, why not get a spokesman from the police department to tell people what's actually going on and why? Maybe identify areas of Alexandria and Pineville that they need to be aware of to stay away from. I think it would be very informative.
Okay. Well, we appreciate the thought or the suggestion.
Yeah, thank you. We can try. I mean, we'll try and get people on when we can. Not a bad idea.
Well, I don't think there's any question when we talk overall what we've experienced these last few years in terms of dealing with public officials from both cities is that Pineville has been much more engaging with us. And I feel like, especially when Darryl Basco was police chief, and now it's even continuing, they're pretty forthright with a lot of their information. Are there spots of Pineville where crime is heavier than others? I'm sure that there are, but I don't know about you. I don't know that if I could really go anywhere in Pineville and feel that unsafe.
No,
and I know you feel that even in Alexandria, you don't, but we're probably not, roaming some of the hood throughout the day or especially at night either. I don't know. I don't know if the city of Alexandria Police Department would engage in that. You could try that.
They might. I could try.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't hurt to reach out.
Yeah, but
I think they've been trying to have a better relationship with you overall.
I ask him a question, and he'll answer.
Yeah.
Or if he can. I mean, sometimes there's investigations and things they can't say.
But the The thing is, though, we're starting to even see at times where the crime has extended beyond what you might feel like are those, quote, neighborhoods to avoid. You had that incident on the South Traffic Circle a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a shooting on the South Traffic Circle.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's more incidents of that, but we had an instance of that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'd have to look at the numbers, but yeah, I mean, look, this isn't like an excuse for anything, but cities have been rough since the beginning of time. You know, we just got to figure out how to put a handle on it. Maybe we can bring the feds in. You know, we get them out there in the hot spots and, you know, bring the federal government out here. That seems to be a choice for some.
Oh, come on now.
No, I'm serious. Why not? That's what y'all want, you know. You can go ahead and do it.
On that note, I saw where several states are sending their National Guard troops to assist in D.C.
Yeah.
I wonder how long before Landry jumps on that.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened.
Yeah, I am too. That's what I'm saying.
I just like, what's the long-term solution there besides the politicization of it, right? Like, what are they going to stay there forever? You know, are we going to fix the root problem with these federal
by law,
officers?
they're only allowed to be there 30 days.
Okay, so what's going to happen after 30 days?
I don't know. We'll see.
You know,
it'd be a shame if D.C. didn't have a lot of crime going on.
D.C., I mean, just every city, man.
I know.
These red states, too. You know, you could say Democratic governor,
red states with Democrat
red
mayors.
States and blue states, like they're happening everywhere. It's a city issue in America, you know, and
just goes back to what I always say: when you don't put criminals in jail, what do you expect to happen?
Yeah, we just rolled out the red carpet for the biggest criminal in the world.
Oh, boy, Steven is salty about the.
I just don't like it. I get some of the arguments against it. It's just not very American to me. Not saying the other side went about it correctly. This isn't like, well, the Democrats did this. I just don't like this particular.
So do you agree with Trump's assertion if had he been president, they wouldn't even have had this war?
No, because he told us this war would have ended the day that he took office, and that wasn't true. He said that multiple times.
Yeah, I do remember.
And that was not. He said he might even do it before he takes office.
It's whether you take Trump literally or take him seriously.
What am I supposed to do?
like I said,
that's not a good argument.
His critics take him seriously, but not literally.
I'll get the sound here in a bit. That was one where he was very specific and dead serious.
Oh, I know. But I think what I'm saying is supporters hear that as he will make a quick end to the war.
He said it was pretty clear cut what he said in that instance. I get what you're saying.
I'm just watching this guy the last 12 years.
Me too.
By the way, the whole reason I started following him was you told me how active he was on Twitter.
I know.
Oh, the irony.
Yep. How things change.
All right, we got to take a break.
KSYL.
Hello, I'm Dr. Noah Miller. I'm the new guy at the clinics. I'm a family medicine physician from Vedrine, Louisiana, and I'm now accepting new patients. Call today for an appointment. The clinics offers a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, urgent and acute care, on-site lab and x-ray as well. Same-day appointments are available, and we accept most insurance and Medicare. Experience exceptional care at the clinics. 1587 North Bolton. Call 445-9823 or reach us online at theclinics.us. Looking forward to seeing you at the clinics.
Starting a business can be overwhelming, especially when you do it alone. Don't do it alone. Take control of your future with a Janny King Gulf Coast franchise. With Janny King, you get guaranteed initial growth, reliable operational support, and ongoing education to set you up for success. Janny King has built a proven system that gives you the tools to take control of your future confidently and with the support you need to thrive. The future is yours today at JannyKingCleans.com.
Janny King, the king of clean.
Got a big day ahead of you? Then it's best to fuel up with some of St. best at Bricato's restaurant. Walk right in and just smell that home-style cooking. Place your order, take a seat, and do breakfast right till 9:30 this morning. Get fresh biscuits, eggs any way you like them, melt in your mouth pancakes, grits, hash browns, sausage, bacon, even wraps and sandwiches. And don't forget their fresh brewed coffee. Bricato's restaurant, 28 West, right across from the Coliseum. Your breakfast is waiting for you.
Nothing to do?
Zenlaw's got you covered.
Mark your calendar. Thursday, August 21st is the Alexandria Ducks Unlimited Banquet with everyone's favorite Cajun chef, Stale Cracker, at the Randolph Riverfront Center. Tickets and tables available now.
Attention all well-behaved pets. You and your human friends are invited for the fall photo shoot with pets. Wednesday, August 27th from 9 till 1 at the library on Tioga High School Road in Ball. It's free.
If you're a Pokemon fan, make plans for the Rapides Parish Library's Creative Con on Saturday, August 30th from 9 till 1. Dress up for the cosplay contest, the fun games, vendors, and more. Details on Facebook at RPL Creative Con.
Fall Fest is full of family-friendly fun. It's coming to Coatill Lake and Boyce on Saturday, September the 6th. Enjoy live music, a kids zone, food vendors, arts and craft vendors. Load up the kids for a fun day at the lake.
Go have some fun.
Zenlaw Broadcasting.
Talk back. To take part of the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
Critics of President Trump will say the pomp and circumstance, the red carpet, the warm handshake, that President Trump simply lost that Putin gained there just by being on the world stage and walking down a red carpet with the president. Your reaction to that?
Well, I mean, critics of President Trump are always going to find something to criticize. You don't even pay attention to it anymore. But I will tell you this, Putin is already on the world stage. He's already on the world stage. The guy's conducting a full-scale war in Ukraine. He's already on the world stage. He has the world's largest tactical nuclear arsenal in the world and the second largest strategic nuclear arsenal in the world. He's already on the world stage. When I hear people say that, oh, it elevates him. Well, all we do is talk about Putin all the time. All the media's done is talk about Putin all the time for the last 4 or 5 years. That doesn't mean he's right about the war. That doesn't mean he's justified about the war. Put all that aside. It means you're not going to have a peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine. You're not going to end a war between Russia and Ukraine without dealing with Putin. That's just common sense. I shouldn't even have to say it. So people can say whatever they want. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to get the Russian side to agree to things that they don't want to agree to if we're going to have peace. If not, there'll just be a war. They'll keep killing each other, and life will go on in America and in the rest of the world, but not for Ukraine. So the president has invested a lot of time in trying to bring an end to this war. He deserves credit for doing that. He gets criticism for doing that. He could have just let this war go on. The president could have just said, this is Biden's war. It started under him. We'll do what we can for Ukraine, but we're going to focus on other things. He could have easily said that. But he's the only leader in the world that can get Putin to a meeting to talk about serious things.
All right. That was Secretary of State Marco Rubio yesterday on ABC This Week with Martha Raddatz.
Do you want to play the sound of Marco Rubio from 2020 saying that Putin can't be trusted and we could never make a deal with him?
Oh, I don't doubt that he said that.
Okay, so Hitler had a world stage, so what? Of course. Mussolini had it. What is he trying to argue there? I don't get it. And we can disagree on the optics of it and everything, but that doesn't really justify the argument like, well, he's on a world stage. It's the condoning of it and bringing him in the manner of the way they did. I get what the president's trying to do. It's just a lot of people disagree with how that looks as the superpower of the world, condoning that attitude.
Let me turn it around. How would you do it then?
How would you do it? How would you have ended the war or just prevented it from the start?
I think a lot of it goes back to what happened with Crimea under Obama.
Maybe so. Maybe Russia's just an aggressive bully that's going to give every inch that you take them, and then we just keep condoning it, letting it happen without dealing with the problem. But I get it. They have tons of nuclear weapons, and that makes a lot of people fearful. But you kind of have to take a stand once in a while, right? I mean, we already know which way this is going with the defunding of Ukraine and some of the concern there. We don't even know if this is going to work. You act like it was going to work.
I didn't say that.
And it could come back in a couple months, and we didn't actually settle the problem.
It's very possible.
However, this is one issue that's very difficult for people like us to talk about on either side, just because it's such a complicated issue. I just don't like the optics of it. I'm not saying you should negotiate. It's just made me a little unsettled there. My feelings were hurt.
Stephen feels triggered. All right, another call. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good
Good morning. I hope you all are having a great Monday.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I hate to be a historian, but the word that you and poor Stephen, who is right, is looking for is called appeasement. And it's an old word, and it goes back to 1938. So I'm waiting for the president to come back, wave a piece of paper, and say, we will have peace in our time. The president is not acting in the best interests of the United States. That's the problem. He needs to act in the best interest of the United States.
Okay, so just let me ask you, how is he not acting in the best interest of the United States?
There's no point in appeasing aggression anywhere in the world. It won't work. It didn't work. It won't work. It didn't work in 2012 when Putin took over Crimea, and the president then appeased him. It did nothing.
Okay.
It won't work.
So you feel what President Trump is doing right now is equivalent to appeasement?
It is. No, it's not the equivalent of. It is appeasement.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. We're going to trade you stuff that you captured, for the promise of peace. I'm sorry, that's not where peace comes from.
Peace comes from strength.
That's correct.
Yes.
You oppose strength with strength, not with appeasement. So, anyways, thought it would help with the vocabulary.
Thank you.
Appeasement is the correct word.
Okay. Thank you for your thoughts. All right, let's take another one. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning. How are y'all this morning?
Good. How are you?
Oh, not bad. I had a quick couple of thoughts I was going to throw in, and the gentleman just got off the air. I had another thought come in on top of that after listening to him. With the appeasement thing, some of us are looking at it more like we're treating Russia as a peer on the world stage, and that's the best way going to get them to negotiate and talk with us. True, strength is a major factor in negotiations. Everybody's always heard the term, negotiate from a position of strength. But if strength comes against strength as the final option, that's very costly in lives and economies and everything else. So nobody wants to do that. You always want to be as strong as you can, but you'd never want to fight because the outcome's not going to be good for anybody. Anyway, a lot of us don't look at it as appeasement. We look at the red carpet and the flyover and all that kind of stuff as treating this person, Putin, as a peer, as a fellow national leader on one of the two countries that we've historically been against here in the last 50 years, which is China and them. And recently, some of the stuff that we've been doing has been putting them in the same orbit as China, which both sides of the aisle, red and blue, are confirming that that's honestly our biggest problem here for the next couple of decades, by far. So anyway, we looked at it different. We would expect him to treat Xi or Putin or anybody else that's in those positions about the same as far as being treated like royalty, if you would say so. That's also going to grease the skids on relationships, which hopefully that's something they could build. I think they already had it. It's just been letting down the vine because nobody's been talking to Russia or any of its leaders. And then one of you guys was talking about optics. I think that plays a big role in it too, but also optics are shaped by the little bit of information that sneaks out, leaks out, or whatever, or maybe you dig out on anything in history, so there's so much that's, painted a certain way and it may not be that way. And I'm a child of the 60s and 70s. So when I was in elementary school, it was no big deal for us to have a school-wide drill where you'd get under your desk in case it was a nuclear war.
I remember that too.
And it wasn't because of Russia. It was because of the Soviet Union, which doesn't exist now.
Correct.
Okay. And so we're talking about a socialist republic. Putin, yep, dictator. Is he a bad guy? Yep, he sure is. All right. You're Stephen, what would you do if...
I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to take a break because we're right at the top of the hour. You're making some awesome points, and I really appreciate your call.
All right. Thanks, sir.
All right, thanks. We'll be right back.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Close your eyes and feel the sun-drenched breeze of southern Spain. From whitewashed villages to golden beaches, this is where history meets passion. Moorish palaces, flamenco night, and unforgettable tapas. This small group, escorted by Annie and Christine in March 2026, will visit Seville, Cordoba, Granada, Marbella, and more. Join our spectacular Spain tour, beaming with culturally rich and local experiences. FreedomTravelLLC.com, your international travel architect.
Put some fun in your future with Pleasure Pools. Right now, get a 16 by 32 in-ground pool for just $39,995. Financing available. Pleasure Pools has been building top-quality fiberglass, gunite, and vinyl pools across Louisiana and East Texas for over 30 years. Want more? Add a spa, waterfall, or custom feature, and we've got you covered for maintenance and remodeling too. Call 318-357-9000 or visit pleasurepoolsinc.com.
Success is about momentum. For over 20 years, Kinetics has been moving businesses forward with cutting-edge IT, cybersecurity, and marketing solutions while keeping them secure, innovative, and competitive. We power progress with next-gen business technology and marketing solutions designed to keep your business ahead of the competition. Need seamless IT, a bold new brand, a strategy built for what's next? Don't get left behind. Move forward with Kinetics. Visit kbisp.com and take the next step today.
Ooma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user plus taxes.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenla Broadcasting.
AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3, HD3, Alexandria.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. 3 days after his summit with Vladimir Putin, President Trump is set to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House. Correspondent Aaron Navarro.
You've seen that relationship between President Trump and Zelensky evolve since that contentious Oval Office meeting. They've had multiple phone calls. They met in person in Rome. And President Trump in recent weeks has shown frustration with Russian President Putin and Russia's strikes on Ukrainian civilians. But in a post last night, President Trump does believe that the ball is in Zelensky's court now.
Mr. Trump posting Zelensky can end the war almost immediately by dropping his bid to join NATO and agreeing to give back Crimea for good. Former Ukraine Defense Minister Anatoly Grintseko.
There must be quite a clear understanding that there is an aggressor on one side who started the war, there is a murderer, and there is a victim that is suffering from the war.
Hurricane Erin has powered back up to a Category 4 storm that's pounding Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. It's stirring up rough surf and dangerous rip currents already along the U.S. East Coast. CBS's Lonnie Quinn.
The track of the storm still takes it in between the U.S. coastline and Bermuda, but the closest it gets to our area is going to be around the North Carolina Outer Banks. It looks to be about a Category 2 on Thursday with 110-mile-per-hour winds, but it's lashing big waves out there.
Breaking news from Utah, where officials say 2 officers have been killed in a shooting in the northern city of Tremonton. Police say a sheriff's deputy and a police dog were wounded when the group responded to a domestic disturbance call. Police say after the officers were shot, bystanders persuaded the man to put down his weapon. He is under arrest on charges of aggravated murder. Police say the threat is over. Striking Air Canada flight attendants are defying a government order to return to work after they walked out Saturday, leaving leaving thousands of passengers stranded, including here in the U.S. and Canada.
There's nothing available. We can't get through on the phone.
I'm trying to get back home to London. Hopefully I'm going to get back, but we'll see, I guess.
Not to sound chuggy, but CBS's Vicki Barker has been checking out new words that have made it into the dictionary. Skibbity, the nonsense word coined by the creator of a viral animated video series, is among 6,000 new words in the Cambridge Dictionary, along with that shorthand for a traditional wife, the trad wife. Though purists might sniff, slang expert Terry Victor reminds us English is being constantly reinvented by us.
It shows the creative and democratic use of English, and that is such a great thing.
S&P futures down 5. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com.
I'm Matt Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Your car steering wheel could be a ticking time bomb. At least 24 people have died and many more injured because their airbags fired shrapnel at them upon inflating. Tens of millions of cars have been recalled. If you suffered cuts that required stitches, hearing or vision loss, or broken bones, please contact us today. You could be owed money for medical bills and other damages.
Morgan & Morgan. Visit us at badairbags.com for an office near you. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Jeff Palermo. A new week begins and the top story remains the historic indictment against New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell. Federal prosecutors allege Cantrell used her out-of-state trips as a guise to be with their bodyguard Jeffrey Vappy romantically. Vappy was indicted last summer on wire fraud charges, accused of filing fraudulent payroll documents and making false statements about his relationship with the mayor. Loyola University law professor Dane Cialino is surprised the indictment against Cantrell did not come sooner.
I think many wondered or expected this, but have wondered why it took so long to come out, particularly since her alleged co-conspirator, Jeffrey Vappy, was indicted more than a year ago.
Louisiana Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple says because there have been fewer accidents since 2024, auto insurers have been lowering rates.
Some areas of the state may be experiencing more claims, more accidents, but for the state as a whole, that's what we're seeing.
Temple says it's only about a 2% decline on average statewide, but that's better than the double-digit increases we saw in 2022 and 2023.
The clinics welcome Dr. Noah Miller, family medicine physician, to our team. Dr. Miller from Vadrine, Louisiana, is now accepting new patients. Call today to schedule your appointment. The clinics offers a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, urgent and acute care with on-site lab and x-ray. Same-day appointments are available, and we accept most insurance and Medicare. Experience exceptional care at the clinics, 1587 North Bolton. Call 445-9823 or look us up online at theclinics.us.
Well, good morning. Sunshine in our forecast today, but it is going to be warm. 97 for the afternoon high. That heat index well above 100. Be careful if you have to be out in that heat. But a 20% chance of some showers or thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoon. Tonight, maybe a stray shower early in the evening. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. We'll get down to 73. And it looks like more of the same on Tuesday. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
All right, everyone, welcome back for hour number 2 of Talkback here on your Monday. I'm Al Quartermont along with Stephen Maxwell, and Glad that you all could be with us here at 442-8255. And stepping in, guest with us this morning is State Representative Jason DeWitt. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Al. Thank you for allowing me to talk today.
Absolutely. Glad to have you on. We haven't had you on since the end of this session. Let's just kind of start there. What were your overall thoughts and impressions on how this session went?
Look, there's no doubt about it. We passed monumental insurance and reform in the history of the Louisiana legislature this year. That by far that was probably one of the biggest things that we accomplished. Of course, we have a lot of other things that we did, and I can go in those in detail, but I would say when it comes to the insurance issue, that was the biggest one.
Absolutely. And I saw where even the news kind of started coming out over the weekend that a lot of the insurance companies are out now starting to drop those auto rates. When you look at companies like State Farm, about 4%, Allstate, about 8%, Geico, I saw theirs was down about 7%. I don't know how much people are seeing that in their bills just yet, but just to even hear that news, I think has to be pretty encouraging for folks.
What we would encourage this time, Al, is that folks get out and actually shop for their insurance. Mm-hmm. I did myself and saved myself over $1,000 just on my car insurance.
Wow.
And just, we all are used to, being with our agent and having a personal relationship with most of them. And at this point in time, we have to really get out and shop and get the best deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Do you expect those rates to keep going down? What do you think?
Look, the thing about it, most everything that we pass this session doesn't go into effect till January 1st. So I'm positive to see what's going on. The commissioner mentioned the other day that they've had 12 new companies come into the state since we started our insurance reform. So that's exciting to see that what we're doing is actually working.
Mm-hmm. One of those bills that passed, I know there were a number of bills that didn't pass, but one of them that passed was your particular bill. And let me see if I'm phrasing this right. No pay, no play.
That's correct.
Okay.
Basically, what it does is if you don't have insurance, you can't sue someone if you have less than $100,000 damages or injury. That would be property damage and injury, pain and suffering, that sort of thing. So basically, it's $200,000 in total. What this does, it helps protect the insured drivers. Those guys are out paying their premiums, and folks that are not won't be able to collect, because about 90% of the lawsuits that take place is in that range that below $100,000 for pain and suffering, and $100,000 for property damage. And if you take the chance and you don't get awarded over that, then you have to pay the legal costs for the defendant.
Some people I saw had asked you, why just 100,000? Why didn't you make that higher?
Right. And look, we're just trying to what I thought would pass, honestly, Al. That was the temperature in the room, so to speak. And that's why I chose that. But like I said, again, 90% of the cases that are in the legal system fall within that range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, for sure. So overall, do you think you guys are pleased with the changes you made? Did you want more?
Yeah, look, we always want more, right, Al?
Sure.
But like I said, I can go through a list of things that we, that I can highlight that we went through and passed this session, if you would like.
Sure, yeah,
and
absolutely.
You want your listeners to hear some of the things that we definitely did. We put the $199 million back in for teacher stipends, and we also put in $30 million for high dose tutoring, and I really think that right there is really moving the needle. Those teachers teaching those kids that need that extra help after school is really making a difference in our test scores. As you know now, we're at 32nd from 49th just a few years ago. That's a big jump. And look, I give all that credit, to Secretary Brumley. He's the superintendent of education. He's done a fantastic job, and I will toot his horn for that. For sure. Also, we put $700 million in the road and infrastructure improvements, $75 million in the local water systems. We put some money into our colleges to long overdue maintenance at these colleges. And we put in about $25 million for that. And we put in $75 million into the water sector program, which is your little small towns and things that normally don't get a grant or something. And, it's a not a first come, first serve, but they look at and they score each one of these, and whoever needs it the most actually gets that money. So it's a very fair system the way it is. And look, our little small towns wouldn't be able to, make it without it.
We can jump into this too. I know they have a carbon capture meeting tonight at Tunks.
Right.
You said you're probably going to be going to that.
Yes.
We heard the governor say last week, at the end of last week, kind of proposing these carbon capture projects move forward at an event. I don't know if you heard that. Where are you guys at on this situation? I know it's a tough spot with the state and the governor maybe pushing these things, but you have your constituents wanting you to stop.
Look, like I've been when I left to go to Baton Rouge in April this year. It's a little later the session. There's no doubt about it. My constituents in my district voiced that they were in support of it when I left. When I came back home, there's no doubt the temperature changed in the other direction, and I'm going to be whatever my majority of my constituents are. That's where my stance is going to be.
All right, well, we do have a call coming in. Let's go ahead and take that for State Representative Jason DeWitt here on the BOM Bank Talk Line. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Well, I didn't want to hang up on you. I didn't realize you had an interview. But last week, they had the job development people speaking on Wednesday. And I guess it was the superintendent of education was all hot on the Sungas project because he was going to be able to produce people who could go straight to work for that. And I called in and I just basically said there aren't going to be any jobs from Sungas if they don't have carbon capture.
Right.
And they didn't quite follow what I was saying, and I didn't want to
your phone cut out. Back. From what I remember, your phone was cutting out. We didn't quite get all what you were trying to ask.
Well, that was Friday when I called back.
Oh.
But in any event, I'm glad Mr. DeWitt is following his constituents. But one of the situations I have with the state legislature is this. The House of Representatives passes stuff, and it goes straight to the Senate, and it dies. And then when it gets back, whatever gets back, the House accepts it. And it's almost like I've said before, Brer Rabbit, just don't throw me in that briar patch. And it's almost like the House has a deal with the Senate that they're going to look good to the constituents, sending stuff to the Senate's going to cancel it, and that's that.
Okay, let's let him respond. Do you feel that's a fair assessment, or is that an oversimplification?
There's no doubt we send stuff that we pass out of the House and send to the Senate, and they sometimes don't even take it up, much less debate it. There's no doubt about that, and if folks have an issue with that, they need to contact their senators. But as far as controlling what they do, there's no way we can do that.
So if a bill, let's say, that makes a lot of sense, that a lot of people support, goes to the Senate, they either water it down or don't vote on it at all, or it dies in committee, what is there any recourse then for the House? Or when it comes back to the House with the watered down measures, can the House add back to it again, or how does that all work?
Well, if it actually dies in the Senate, that's where, it actually dies. If they make amendments and send it back to the House has the opportunity to vote on those concur with those amendments or vote them down, either way. Okay. And if they vote for it, then, they would go to conference committee. All right.
Well, I want to point out that Mr. Griffon regularly points out that the House does have some control, and it can refuse to accept stuff coming back from the Senate.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
The House does not exercise that power.
In some bills, we actually Yes, and some bills we actually do. Just depends on what those amendments are.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is that there's stuff that the Senate wants and that the House could easily say, if you want this, then you have to give us that.
And well, if we make any changes to what the Senate actually sends us back, then we have to what they call go to conference committee, and that's 2 people from the Senate, 2 people from the House, that's appointed by the Senate President and the House Speaker, and those guys come up with a compromise.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that Moon says that the House actually has some power that is separate from what you're talking about. Now, whether you do or you don't, I don't know. But Moon can be your friend or he could be your bitterest enemy.
Yeah, true. Well, yes, so it sounds like what you're saying is the House does have that power, but in some cases maybe doesn't utilize it.
It just, like I said, it depends on the issue, what he's talking about. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, was there a specific issue you were asking that about?
No, not anything particular, but by the way, the other day when you had Senator Kennedy Cassidy on, a pointed question was asked of him, and all of a sudden he cut out. Now, could he have been having phone troubles, or could he have been having an issue and not wanting to respond?
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
We don't know, obviously, but he usually answers all of our questions.
Yeah, he usually does. I wasn't on that day, but I heard
we were having phone issues before that.
Yeah, that's true. I remember. So, all right.
Thank you, sir.
For the call. We need to take a break. More coming up with State Representative Jason Witt.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Imagine walking where land meets sea, where every step echoes centuries of stories. This is the Portuguese coastal Camino de Santiago. From Porto's riverside charm to Galicia's wild coast, follow a path through fishing villages, ancient chapels, and windswept beaches. Walk the Camino. Feel the call. It's more than a journey, it's a transformation. Join our small group, escorted by Christine and Father Joy in May of 2026. FreedomTravelLLC.com, your international travel architects.
You too could have a beautiful smile in as little as 12 weeks. Exclusive to Today's Dental in Pineville, Virtual Align Clear Aligners, the fastest, most convenient, affordable way to straighten your teeth for people on the go. Plus, they're invisible. No one will know you're doing it. Experience the Virtual Align difference. Call Today's Dental at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. 448-4540.
Tired of noisy neighbors? Want to keep pets in and problems out? Sounds like you need a Promo fence. At Promo Fencing and Lawn Care, our fences don't just work, they wow. From classic cedar and pine privacy fences to durable chain link, sleek metal and aluminum, even decorative fencing. We've got something for every home, yard, or business, big or small, residential or commercial. All with free estimates, expert installs, and small town customer care. Promo Fencing and Lawn Care. Fences that feel like home.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talkback.
All right, we're back with State Representative Jason DeWitt here on Talkback. One thing that, just kind of reading various takes of what happened with this legislative session and the way it all kind of worked out in the end was, I've seen from different places, people are making comments like a lot of the freshmen were kind of discouraged by the way that things went. Do you think that's accurate or fair?
Well, look, Moon. I'm still thinking about what Moon was talking about earlier.
How you all are there?
But no, we were no doubt frustrated with the first regular session, let's call it that, when it came to legal reform or insurance reform. It's got all kind of fancy names now for it, because we were elected to make those changes. Number one issue by far, for the most part, is still our insurance and how much it costs us in Louisiana. And we felt like, our voice was not being heard. So we put together a group of freshmen that decided, and look, most of us are not attorneys either, by the way, Al,
Right.
and decided to take on this monumental task to try to get some reform when it comes to insurance. And I can tell you, we spent a lot of time outside of the first session, in between the special sessions, meeting and finding out exactly what was driving these insurance prices up. And we ended up filing several bills, and some of those made it across the finish line. And I'll be honest with you, a couple passed the finish line that I didn't think was going to make it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure there were a few you probably wish had made it.
And look, we're still going to continue. We're not through now.
Yeah.
We'll continue that fight to the bitter end to try to lower our insurance, because that affects everybody. It affects our businesses. It affects, people coming in this state. They get some real sticker shock. I hear those calls. They come to my office all the time. I probably, in the 18 months I've served, I probably received nearly 1,000 calls, text, emails concerning our insurance. And I tell you, no doubt, number one issue in my district.
Oh, I can imagine.
And not just the individual automobile owner insurance, but I think especially what is a threat is how much we're seeing a lot of the businesses have to pay. Those that are utilizing trucks for different businesses or industries are just getting absolutely crushed by these.
No doubt about the timber industry, especially.
Yeah.
One carrier, two carriers, you hear, and those guys basically set the market, and either play or pay, or you don't have insurance. And that's competition, what it's all about, Al. You got to have competition to get those rates lower.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you, there was we also had some constitutional amendments also come out, if you would like me to go over those during this session.
Yeah, absolutely.
HB 63 raised the judicial retirement age to 75. That'll be voted on in April of 26.
It was 70.
Yes,
right? Okay.
That's correct.
What was the main reason to want to raise that?
I think that we have a very shortage of judges, especially ad hoc judges that come in and listen and to a lot of these cases. I think that was part of it. And, folks are living a lot longer than they used to, and I think they're capable of doing it. And we need judges, no doubt about it. Also, HB 366 gives the parishes the option to reduce or eliminate the inventory tax on businesses. So that'll be coming up also in April.
Is that one of those provisions that was part of that larger bill that failed in March? Inventory tax?
Yes, that was part of that bill, but they separated that out to where I think it was a lot of confusion with those amendments, and I think what we're going to plan on doing is trying to talk to folks ahead of time and answer all their questions to make sure that they know exactly what they're voting on.
Sure.
Because it no doubt about it. The credit rolls off. We did vote to get rid of the credit, and that rolls off in July of 26. So the folks what's going to happen is basically, let's say Grant Parish doesn't want to eliminate the inventory tax and Rapides does, that's going to be very attractive to the industry to come to Rapides Parish. And that's a big deal. So it'll be interesting to see who actually, rolls it off and see what effect it does have on industry coming to our area.
So it'll allow for individual parishes to decide that then?
That's correct.
Huh. Kind of like sports gambling. Says the person that lives in Grant Parish that doesn't have it. Not that I would use it, but I just know you can't do it there.
Right. And right there at the end, we had one more bill that basically is going to give, it's another constitutional amendment that the voters actually vote on. That was a very close vote, and basically what it's going to do is allow the voters to decide whether they want to keep the current civil service system the way it is, or do they want to unclassify some of the positions in state government.
Which positions are if you know off the top of your head?
The legislature would make those decisions. I think this goes back to some of the realignment with DOTD and some of those bills is where this mainly is coming from.
Okay. All right. We have another call coming in for Jason DeWitt on the BOM Bank Talk Line. Let's take that. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, Mr. DeWitt, the inventory tax is a huge issue for business owners. I won't own a business. I will not move my business into the city of Alexandria because of their inventory tax alone. It's just ridiculous. Not the issue I called about. The carbon sequestration. You've made Mr. DeWitt, you've made mention since the session ended that you're going to stand behind your people who are not happy with it. But during session, you voted for a bill, or you voted down the guy Chuck Owens' bill from Leesville about let me say that differently, hardening property rights, reinforcing property rights. You voted it down, and you said it was because the SunGas project would not come if that bill went through. So which is it? Are you for us or are you for the industry?
Sir, if you heard me earlier, I'm going to vote whichever way my constituents want me to vote. My constituents that notified my office concerning CCS were in favor of it, and that's the way I voted, period. And when I came back home, that narrative has changed, and I'm going to be whichever way my constituents want me to, the majority of those folks, and that's that. I represent them.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. I hope more of them reach out to you in the next session, because I just think that's talking two different ways there. I understand that the consensus could have been different before the session, but I also think that there was a lot of lack of transparency before that session and before those kinds of votes.
Well, I think in our area we really didn't know a whole lot about it, honestly.
Right. Well, and that's the kind of the part is people that had no information were saying that they're for it. That's kind of it seems almost intentional by those orchestrating SunGas coming or the carbon sequestration coming. When things come up against them and people aren't told about it until after the vote happens, it's kind of crappy.
Yes, sir. I totally agree.
All right, thanks for your time.
Yeah, sir. Thank you for the call. We appreciate it. Again, our number is 442-8255. And, to that point, I know during the Natural Resources Committee hearing when Chuck Owen was presenting his bill, and we had played that clip where you had mentioned to him that on 99% of the votes, you and he align on things. But with this one thing, you had the officials from SunGas telling you that if they didn't have the carbon capture component, they couldn't go forth with this project, which is a $2 billion project for Rapides Parish. I can totally understand why, in a position that you're in, you would support that and want that to happen. And as you're saying now, now that you're getting more information about carbon capture, that kind of back end part of that deal, it is sort of changing the narrative. Not is sort of, it is definitely changing the narrative.
That's correct, Al. I can only do what my constituents want me to do, and that's why I'm serving, because I'm a voice for them when I go to Baton Rouge. And whatever way they want me to vote on a particular issue, very seldom I do get the calls that I get, except when it came to insurance. So like I told you, nearly 1,000 calls that I've got on that. That's no doubt been the major issue still at this point. I didn't get that many calls. I got about 40 to 50. What we do is when somebody calls, texts, or emails, we document those people, make sure they're in the district that I represent, and that's the way I vote on issues when I'm in Baton Rouge. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I guess there's really no way to tell sometimes. I'm just kind of curious, are you convinced the majority of your district is against this project still coming here?
From the ones I'm hearing from, I would say that, Al and Stephen.
They're at least against the carbon capture component of it.
Especially the burying of it, I think it's a big deal.
Right.
and like I said, whichever way my constituents want me to be, and that's where I'm going to be. And
you said you got thousands of calls for insurance. How many have you gotten on CCS? I'm just curious if you know.
Nearly. Before I went in the session, I've got about 50.
Okay.
And since then, I would say somewhere, calls, emails, and texts.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say probably 200 to 300.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We need to take another break. More with Jason DeWitt coming up.
This is a Bloomberg.
The world once needed lots of paper made right here in Central Louisiana.
Attention all real estate
Now we're making
agents,
it come
property
back.
owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson. A message from Israel Air Conditioning and Heating.
Yeah, my mama, she told me to pick up and call Israel Air.
She told me Israel Air.
She told me. She said they'll come running with comfort beyond compare.
A very fair price.
Because you know we're all about your comfort, no troubles. Call 442-6657. That's 442-6657. We're all about your comfort,
Well, good morning. Sunshine in our forecast today, but it is going to be warm. 97 for the afternoon high. That heat index well above 100. Be careful if you have to be out in that heat. But a 20% chance of some showers or thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoon. Tonight, maybe a stray shower early in the evening. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. We'll get down to 73. And looks like more of the same on Tuesday. From the Sunlaw Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
Now back to Talk Tank, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
All right, we are back, and Jason DeWitt is our guest here on Talkback. 442-8255 is our phone number. Again, there's a meeting coming up tonight on the carbon capture issue at Tongue Cypress Inn. Starts at 6 o'clock, is that right?
6 o'clock.
Okay. Which I think for that area, particularly Kincaid Lake, I can understand why people would be concerned out there because it's such a beautiful area.
No doubt about it. And they have a well that's being proposed to be drilled in that area out there too. And so we'll get to hear from our local citizens on that end of the parish. We had one in Pineville that I attended. We had one in DeVille that I attended, and now we'll have one on the west side of the parish.
Gotcha. All right. So let's talk about some other things that are kind of going on with the state right now. We've sort of wrapped up the legislative session. What kind of news are you getting about the way things are going around the state right now?
Well, look, we've been there for 18 months now, and we've got some pretty good things that's happening. In our economic outlook, we've gone from 31st to 18th. As far as rich states versus poor states, we went from 26th to 18th now. The U.S. News cost of living in Louisiana has gone from 13th to 5th this year. So it's a lot of things that's looking up. Of course, we talked about our education system now and the strides. And look, all that's no doubt. Our teachers are our pride and joy, and we want to make sure we always take care of those folks and the hard work they do, and then the support staff also.
I know that you put the stipend back in for this year. If I remember right, part of that constitutional amendment that failed in March would have been a permanent pay raise, correct?
That would have been a permanent pay raise, and also would be there to pay down some of that.
That's right, retirement debt.
Remember that?
Yeah, which I know the superintendent has spoken to, is saying that's probably the biggest factor, that if they could pay that down, if the state could pay that down, the individual districts could give more raises.
No doubt about it. Basically, it's going to get all that funding back to the local school boards to decide how they want to fund those teachers. One of the other things I wanted to mention that we did in November was the tax reform. Remember that now we're the second lowest income tax for the nation now that actually has income tax. So we're second lowest. So, like I said, this past year in 24, we've had 30,000 people move into the state. We've been on an average of 35,000 leaving the state. So, things have been looking up. We're trying to do our best in Baton Rouge and make this state definitely where folks will want to come and live and raise their kids.
Do you see the income tax getting removed eventually? I know there's been talks of it.
There's no doubt. That's what I'm hoping. That's hopefully, if I serve out my time in the legislature, that will be a reality. Our neighbor in Mississippi has strived to do that. It's going to be several years before they actually get it done, but they voted to get it done. That's one of the things my freshman class is trying to do, is to get to that point. Right now, we're striving to make that, trying to get this debt paid off and move in that direction, because, again, I think that's a very attractive for folks to come to our state.
I know the Supreme Court's going to be looking at the congressional map situation in Louisiana. What do you think's going to come out of that, and what do you think the legislature will do if they?
Our local Mike Johnson went to. Let's call him Pineville Mike, I guess.
I like that.
Pineville Mike, okay. He actually went and argued.
That's better than calling him the older Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure he appreciates that.
Elderly Mike.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it. But no, I really, everybody was asking about that. And look, the way the system was set up, it was being heard out of the New Orleans district originally, and the legislature, when basically we're told to redo the map, or the judge was, and so we drew the map knowing that probably this thing would get challenged and get moved to a different court in Shreveport, and that sort of worked, and I think the Supreme Court is actually finally going to do more than I've really thought. I think the Voter Right Act is going to be looked at pretty hard. Here in the last week or so, I've been getting the information that I didn't know, of course, from the northern states, like Massachusetts and those states. They have like 40% Republican Party and have no representation at all in Congress. And so, interesting that here we are trying to make sure we have a third, much less none. That was hard to believe for myself.
No, I think that has been something that has come to light much more through this whole national debate about gerrymandering and redistricting. And
right.
I mean, and Steve and I have talked about it. I mean, what is the best way to set up congressional districts? I mean, you're not supposed to even include race as a factor in that.
That's correct.
I mean, which I know in the voting rights provision was meant to prevent states from discriminating against black people originally, but now it's kind of turned on its head the opposite way, where we're guaranteeing this, but that's going against kind of both the spirit and the letter of the law.
There's no doubt about it, Al. And look, I hopefully expect the Supreme Court to come back with a decision maybe by the end of the year, and we may be back in special session redrawing this thing again.
Do you think, I know that California, which they're trying to undo at this point temporarily, has the independent council look at congressional districts, and it's separate from the legislators. Is that something you'd like to see in Louisiana?
Well, I'm definitely up to that. As far as getting somebody else in there, if that's what they want to do. But, we represent the folks, and the folks tell us what they want, and we represent them. So that's also a factor folks need to be thinking about.
Our caller brought up Moon earlier. This has been like his number one issue for weeks now. He talks about it every day.
Does it?
And, he does talk about how a lot of the members of the legislature say that that's like the biggest vote that they regret. Do you think that's true from?
Well, if, myself, I was brand new. Like, I think the first thing we went on, and it was brought to our attention, what I was telling you earlier, here's the plan, this is what we're trying to do. This is the only probably shot we got that will have, the Supreme Court actually look at it again and maybe be a favorable challenge. So honestly, when I look at it, I don't have any regrets because looks like, this thing may get changed and actually changed in a big way.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if y'all know this, but our legislative seats are being challenged, Senate and House.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's right.
We may lose, I think, somewhere around 10 or so House seats and a few Senate seats to black district, and them creating black districts for our state. So folks need to realize that there's a stay that's been filed to not do anything forward until the Supreme Court actually rules on the congressional district. So we'll be waiting on that.
All right. Let's take another break. More coming up with Jason DeWitt.
KSYL.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx saved you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Hey, from State Farm. I'm winning. I finally cleaned my house, so I'm breaking out my new tropical room spray.
Keep winning and create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It's like your own personal paradise.
Ooh, hey, grab me a coconut water.
Bundling, just another way to save with a personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
The Acadian Ambulance membership enrollment is now open. Members enjoy many benefits, including a 30% discount on ambulance transports, a nationwide discount program on thousands of products and services you use every day, and savings on medical alerts and security systems from Acadian Total Security. Protect your family for just $84 a year. This is your only chance this year to join Acadian Ambulance and to start enjoying these terrific savings. Learn more about all of the benefits and the low cost of membership by calling 800-256-JOIN or visit myacadian.com. That's 800-256-JOIN or myacadian.com. Hurry, the deadline is Friday, September 5th. Acadian Ambulance, the best in EMS.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. Talk back.
All right.
It's a calling.
We are back with State Representative Jason DeWitt here on Talkback. Let me ask you this. As a freshman, how much have you benefited from having someone like Pineville Mike Johnson as the Speaker Pro Tem, with him to able, you mentioned you're not a lawyer. A lot of the freshmen who came to the session aren't kind of in your traditional lawyer roles. I think there are people that really want to see a difference in the state and have left professions or have put those professions on the side burner while they're doing this. How much has Mike been a help to you guys?
Look, there's no doubt about it. Mike Johnson and Gabe Furman were mainly the only two folks that were in our group that was not freshmen that help us move this project and this package along. There's no doubt about it. Without them, I don't think we would have been able to do it because, look, I've been there 18 months and I can tell you I've learned everything I've learned. Most people on the street, I can tell you, don't know how the system works. And those guys know decor and they know rules of the house. And I can tell you, they've been a tremendous asset to us as freshmen, trying to how to move these bills, what we need to say, what we need to do. I went over to the Senate and argued my bill. They call Jude A. the judicial hellhole. Okay. Can you imagine a freshman going up against senior lawyer senators. You can go watch that anytime. But, you know, from a guy who's not an attorney, no doubt it was intimidating, but I definitely got my point across, and we got it past that, and the governor signed it. And like I said, the bills that we passed looks like it's making a difference, and they don't go in effect until January 1st. So it's looking no doubt optimistic.
I know the bill that got through that the governor supported, a lot of the legislature was not necessarily in favor of it. How do you think over time that could impact things? That was the bill that would allow the insurance commissioner to have more power to either raise or lower rates.
Look, that bill was no doubt probably one of the most controversial ones there in that package. It wasn't brought by the freshman legislator, it was brought by another legislature in the House, and the group that I was working with, of course, was not with that. But hey, it gives the commissioner something else to be able to give his voice, and maybe that's what, you know, that may help the situation. I kind of wait and see where that's going to actually lead to.
Sounds good. We got another call coming in. Let's take that. Good morning. You're on with Jason DeWitt.
Yes, hello. Representative DeWitt, I had this question. Earlier this year, my cable bill went up quite a bit, and I accused the cable company. I called them up. I said, did y'all get an increase? No. Well, they got to looking at it. Yeah, well, your state of Louisiana passed a 10% tax on your cable or your stream, any TV services. And I'm just curious to know, how can that be? Because y'all already passed a 0.5% sales tax. I mean, we're paying, I know in Pineville and even Alexandria, you do 10.5% sales tax, which I think is outrageous. But anyway, just like your opinion on that. How did that happen without, public voting on that?
Now, where you live at, sir?
Pineville.
Pineville. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure where you were at, and that cable company is Optimum, I believe, over there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, the 10 cent, I guess, the increase, you would say, on that particular issue was basically the service that was being charged for things that, we used to rent movies back in the day, and we paid tax on that. And now they wanted to make sure that they caught up with that, what was going on in the past as far as collecting taxes on those services that most other states do. And I think that's what they were doing, was trying to duplicate those services that are being done in the states around us.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I guess they can just do that without a vote of the public.
The legislature, that was actually a bill that was brought before the legislature. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Another thing they did, every time you turn around, there's a tax they throw on you. We have a hybrid car. Well, when you file your income taxes, they tack on I think it's $5 a month, and if it's a e-car, fully electric, it's $20. That stuff, every time you turn around, the state is, it just adds up after a while. Already paying a 10.5% sales tax in Pineville, Alexandria, probably other municipalities, and that gets to be expensive, especially when you buy a large item like a vehicle.
Well,
they need to put some kind of control on that.
Most of your taxes are local taxes, right? Those are not all state taxes. Okay.
Well, the state, I don't know what it is now.
Yes, sir.
I know one time they were exempting food items for home consumption.
Yes, sir. They still are.
But if it's it was a 4% tax at one time. I don't know what it is now. I know they added a 0.5% earlier this year.
Yes, sir. But we lowered the income tax when we did that. So it's a net gain for you guys and myself. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you for your call. Mm-hmm. We appreciate it.
Righty.
We need to take another break, and then more coming up with Jason.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics, with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Dentures. You can't live with them, and you definitely can't live without them. But what if we told you there's a better way? Today's Dental in Pineville is here to revolutionize your smile. Say goodbye to old-fashioned adhesives and endless appointments. They've made getting implants incredibly simple, low anxiety, and affordable for everyone. Picture this. In-office IV sedation administered by a highly skilled, certified nurse anesthetist, making the procedure low anxiety and stress-free. And the best part? Their multiple finance options make implants truly affordable. Don't wait. If you're ready to replace those old-timey dentures with permanent implants, call Today's Dental on Highway 28 East in Pineville at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility owned by Dr. Jonas Gauthier. That's 448-4540. Your perfect smile is just a call away. Today's Dental, because you deserve the best.
Well, let's take a look at my husband Tom's favorite shirt. This is a ketchup stain. We got soy sauce over here, mustard here, Tabasco, chocolate syrup. I'm not worried. I'll just take it to Craig.
At Craig's Cleaners, tough stains are no problem. Finicky, hard, clean fabrics are no problem either.
Wow, honey, great job on my shirt. Now, what's for supper?
Just dependable, professional dry cleaning. Craig's Cleaners, 1746 Elliott Street, 1305 Metro Drive, or Highway 28 East at the Pineville Expressway.
Jackpot fever is here from the lottery. It's easy 5 time. Choose your 5 numbers for a chance to win a cash jackpot starting at $50,000. Add Easy Match for a chance to win up to $250 instantly. Play Lotto. For just $1, choose your 6 numbers for a chance at a starting jackpot of $500,000. Now that's a whole lotto cash. Feel the power by playing Powerball with a starting jackpot of $20 million. And for an extra $1, power up with Power Play to increase any non-jackpot prize. Play Powerball. This game is mega huge. Play Mega Millions. The jackpot starts at $50 million. An automatic multiplier feature gives you a chance to multiply any non-jackpot prize up to 10 times. Catch your jackpot fever from the lottery. Always giving you a reason to smile. Must be at least 21 to purchase.
It's Talkback 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
All right, we're back with Jason DeWitt. Let's go back to the phone calls. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good. I wanted to ask Representative DeWitt a question. With your promises now about carbon capture being brought before the next session and some bills being passed, what happens when those bills are shot down by the Senate or passed and vetoed by the governor? Where are we at then?
Then they would be dead for that session. If
the bills won't.
No, if we vote on them and pass them out of the House, the Senate would have to concur and vote for them, and if they don't, that bill or bills will die at that point.
And carbon capture will continue on with their projects, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I appreciate the answer.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. Again, 442-8255. So as we look ahead now here, it's a new year. The session is gone and past. What do we have still coming up the rest of the year in terms of for the legislature?
There's no doubt redistricting will probably be the number one thing behind, of course, carbon capture. We'll have several bills coming out, I would think, out of that. Budget negotiations, the Revenue Estimating Conference said we had $139 million extra dollars. And so basically we got to decide what we're going to do with that. We're going to put it in education, infrastructure, debt reductions, or savings. So that'll be that. There's some tax reform follow-up and cleanup that we need to do from the things we passed in November. And the infrastructure and education spending, coastal work, road, bridges, and upgrades definitely be part of that.
All right. So it never stops, does it?
No doubt about it, Al. I've enjoyed my 18 months and appreciate the people sending me down to Baton Rouge. It's been an experience of a lifetime, and I want to be their voice for them, and that's the way I go about it every day. I help people, and that's my big deal. That's why I serve. You can't imagine the calls I get every day from people just want somebody to listen to and hear their voice, and it's very rewarding.
All right, we have another call coming in. We still got a couple minutes left. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Good morning. That bill that Alan Seabaugh that set forward kind of reduced the insurance rates in Louisiana. I think it got like a 86% support. Went through both chambers or whatever. I think with like a 86 or 87% support, and then the governor vetoed it. I mean, at what point do you think that a veto override should be considered on stuff like this? And I'll hang up and listen.
Okay.
Yes, sir. There's no doubt about that. Was passed out of both houses, and I'm sure that will be brought back, that bill. And I'm sure maybe Alan may bring it, or, somebody within our freshman group may bring that bill back.
I mean, the weird thing is, like with that, is there's obviously a rift between the governor and Alan Seabaugh, which politically, on paper, they would seem to align quite a bit, but yet in practicality, it seems like there's been clearly a rift.
Yeah, and that's very obvious that you've seen that. They've kind of poked back one and back at one another. And look, that's not the way. We need to try to move forward and get along and put those personal risks aside and do what's best for the state.
I know people get frustrated sometimes because you got a Republican governor or a supermajority in the House and Senate, and still there are things that don't get done. I know one thing people were disappointed in was kind of the expansion of school choice and the funding for that, which pretty much got shot down in the Senate.
No doubt about it. I was personally disappointed that got shot down because, people, taxpayers want to decide where their kids go to school, and that money should follow that child.
Yeah. Yep. Follow the kid, not the system.
That's correct.
All right. Well, we got about 40 seconds left. Stephen, last thought?
I guess the big question too is, Pineville Mike wanted to do an eminent domain special session. Do you think that's going to happen on carbon capture?
At this time, I do not think a special session will be called for that.
And that'd be probably dealt with in the regular session?
It could be, brought up if we have a special session dealing with congressional seat. That the governor calls those and makes those determination on what we vote.
Okay.
All right. State Representative Jason DeWitt, our guest here on Talkback. Always enjoy having you come into this show and keep us up to date on things.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you, everyone. So tomorrow the show will be Stephen and Nathan. Matt Ritchie will be here in the 8 o'clock hour, so we'll look forward to that. Hope you all have a great Monday, a great work week, a great school week. First day of school over at LCU. Stephen, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Buckle up.
That was the only time I had good grades.
Downhill from there. All right. We'll talk with you all later. Have a good one.
You've been listening to Talk.